Nice to meet you all. Nice to be part.
Okay, nice to meet you, Satya.
Yeah. So
okay, here you go, Satya.
Yeah, this is my first session on SQL Server Path. So today I'm going to present about data platform upgrade. Upgrade about your SQL Server instances and databases, and like what are the tools that are available here and what are those best practices. This particular talk has been very popular for the last 3 years, near about 4 years when 2008 has been released. So I've been presenting this in the local user groups, in even in Microsoft Tech North America, Europe, India. So across Europe and across Americas, I've been presenting this topic. When Shahab asked me, like, would you like to be present this one topic, I could not think anything about other than this. So I'm hopeful this will be useful for all of you. So I'm going to continue. Like this is about me. I'm Satya Jayanti. I have near about 20 plus years of experience in IT, and as far as the SQL Server is concerned, I've been using that since version 4.2. So it's a long way to go since its Sybase days. And last year I released my first book, which is SQL Server 2008 R2 Administration Cookbook. This was released in last year May. And also I was glad to be part of the book as a co-author, MVP Deep Dives Volume 2. So these are the two books I released last year. And I'm a very active member within the community. When I say community, it comes to be SQL Server. Any site, website, or whatever in terms of MSDN and TechNet, SQLServerPerformance.com. That was my main base, like where I learned a lot by answering questions. And since 2007, I started my own blog site where I was blogging my own experience, problems that I face day to day, are just posted as a blogs over there. And like as I said to you, like I've been pretty active in the community, and I've been awarded Microsoft Most Valuable Professional since 2006, which is it's an yearly award given to any individual for their contributions within the community. So enough said about me, so let's jump on to the topics. Like we got a good way to go. So this is what the book cover, which I was mentioning about my first book, which was given. The foreword was written by Brad McGehee, who is my fellow SQL Server MVP, and who was my supported me in the SQLServerPerformance.com. So you all already know about Brad McGehee in this regard. So. And that's what the the site for the book purchase. It is available in Amazon and also PactPub. So you can get both in printed version and ebook format. So whoever is interested to have a book in hand, you can purchase the print book, or if you want to have it in your iPad or in your gadgets as a PDF file, you can also get that. So okay, what's the agenda today? I have just a list of things here, so just going about to say exactly what are those. What I'm going to do is, one is the upgrade of the planning, like how the upgrade of a planning, that means when can you start your thing in terms of the upgrade, the kind of a checklist. Like there are a lot of things to go around here in terms of the the topic. But the key part of the checklist, which I made over a period of time, because I do also do a lot of consulting projects. Some companies ask me like, oh, do you do some designing work here to see, just review a platform and say what are these things we need to do much better. And we'll also go through some strategies and consideration in terms of what upgrade brings you, what options you have as to perform the upgrades. That means your databases, your instances, because sometimes you might be thinking to upgrade your database only. That means few databases, not entire SQL Server instance. And the third one, which is how long it will take. Well, that's a big question, and I'll come to you over there exactly what are those things we can, I'll give you 3 best examples, the scenario, the real world scenario which I handled in my own hands. So I'll give you the example and why it took that time. And I'll show you just a little demo in the last, saying that what are the tools which I'm mentioning here today. And obviously, every part of this presentation covers the best practices. When I say the best practices, these are implemented, tested, and successfully, kind of got resulted actually within the environment or whatever I'm talking there. So. Excuse me. Okay, just to give you a glimpse of what I'm covering today, because we are talking about the upgrade, so I'm just only talking about the methodology, the tools, and the best practices, and also what are the tricks that we are following. And obviously this is applicable only for SQL Server 2008 R2 and 2012. When I say 2012, it is because we got already RTM edition, so some of the aspects I'll be covering for that version as well. Excuse me, I got a very bad cough here, so okay. And I'm not covering any specific features like, okay, what feature we have in 2008, what feature we have in 2012, etc., etc. I'm not covering that aspect at all. This is mainly an upgrade of the platform. So, as a data platform specialist, that means I'm not targeting here any particular kind of community, developer or DBA or whatsoever. As a data platform specialist, that means you are responsible for your databases in terms of designing, developing, support and maintenance as a DBA. You got different versions of SQL Server, different number of databases. So how are you going to manage? That means in terms of when your management comes and say, hey, we are moving to the latest version and edition of the SQL Server, and then how you can perform them very quickly. And in terms of proactively means so that you can find the problems before going even upgrade. How can you find them? In order to find them, what kind of tools that can help you to analyze the problems? And once you get those problems list, at least some highlights of the problems that you have or issues, how are you going to tackle the strategy in terms of we have upgrade methods, which kind of strategy would you follow? And in terms of detecting like, okay, there is a problem here actually for a particular instance, so how are you going to plan ahead? So because that's a very key instance or key databases for your business. So that time you need to be careful. You need to go about them and say that, hey, we need to upgrade this as soon as possible, but you have key issues here. So kind of said about the graphics here, so I'm going to jump onto the one exactly. So obviously here is a checklist what we have. There are three stages that I always consider. One is a pre-upgrade, that means before starting the upgrade, during the upgrade, and the post-upgrade. These are the three key checkpoints you should always mind in terms of to run. The first thing is you have to check your environment. You check in environment in terms of how many instances you're going to upgrade, how many databases you're going to upgrade. And one tool that comes into my mind and always you should use is Upgrade Advisor. I'll come to that exactly what's the tool later. And ensure environment is clean. When I say clean, in terms of the database consistency, not in terms of just deleting the data and keep all tables empty. And so once your database is consistent enough, it will be very easy. You can upgrade it very quickly and efficiently. And consider shrink data file and log files. Okay, here I am contradicting one best practice statement. Never shrink your production database. But why I'm saying shrink your data file? Well, I'm saying the read-only databases, such as let's say you have your database, multiple file groups, and you have these multiple file groups, let's say a monthly file group, then the data will never be updated, deleted, or modified. So that time once data is inserted, that's there forever. You're not going to touch the data at all, but the data is just used to select for some reporting purpose or some historic purpose. So that can consider as a read-only database. That means read-only file group, read-only data files. Shrink those ones because the data is spread out over there. Once you perform your kind of your indexing, re-indexing and everything, that time what you could do is once you do the shrink operation, that will do the other way around. Or whatever re-indexing you have done, everything will go to zero, back to zero. So the best thing is always do is, once you got necessary indexes on those read-only data files or data, for that particular data, you can mark it as read-only so that the file group is never touched again. And efficiently that will reduce the size of databases, because your size of database consists of data files plus log file. So you need to consider, whenever you say your database size, the backup might be 200 MB, but the database size itself is 10 GB, because in order to create the data files or data files plus log file, you need to create that, you need to have that the storage space. We have one tool called Best Practices Analyzer, which is available since 2000 onwards. So Microsoft has been releasing successfully for every version since 2000. So we got 2000, 2005, and 2008 R2, and 2012 is going to come soon. So it is under development production. So, and the key aspect is backup your environment. The backup is a key aspect for any task that you're going to do. Never miss. When I say backup, just not only simply taking a backup and keep it somewhere secure. Make sure that you test that backup which have been taken. Like if you take it to a tape, make sure that you just try to restore that and see whether you can read the tape or disk. Good. And the last but not the least, when I say environment, you have, because we are upgrading the user databases here, but we have multiple kind of objects here, which are system databases, your DTS packages, your SSIS packages, linked server concepts, a lot of things. You have your scheduled jobs. These are not getting upgraded at all. They are only upgrading the database here. That's why when I say environment, it consists all of these objects. Continuing on the checklist, actually, the upgrade part, that means exactly you are now into planning part, and now you're going to just do both things. Document every step. When I say document, we make sure that you have necessary information about a particular database, why it is used, by which application, what are those things. And make sure that the environment, in terms of the resource usage, are clean. That means, the health of the network, the health of your disk I/O, and everything is clean, so that you can perform your upgrade successfully. And once the upgrade completes, again you have to take the backup, so that you have multiple backups. One is a pre-upgrade, another is just exactly when the upgrade is completed. So in case if something goes wrong as soon as you upgrade, you can simply come back to the back to where. This is where you put up a checkpoint. Okay, you're going ahead or not going ahead. That means some problem has come up. How to solve that? Obviously, you have to test the functionality. When I say functionality, that you need to test your code in terms of in the latest version of the SQL Server. So when I say it's the latest version, it is applicable to 2008 R2 and 2012. And in every aspect, you have to review the logs. That means every action you're going to perform is logged somewhere. As in under SQL Server log, or event viewer log, anywhere, or even your own logging method you can use here. Make sure you review all of them. And always, if an upgrade fails, make sure you troubleshoot, so that these logs will get you in one place where you can determine, okay, exactly you're going to how to fix this problem. Are you going to roll back, or are you going to fix forward? Okay, this is not a serious issue, we can get along with this. So all those aspects you can build up in confidence to proceed further. And the third part of the checklist comes to where you're preparing to upgrade. That means you're about to start your process. And in terms of starting process, you can test the aspect in development platform. So review upgrade documentation and resources. So in terms of the documentation, what you have collected so far, make sure you review them, and the resources, that means in terms of the server hardware, the databases, the number of users who are going to test this, who is going to do what. And you need to identify such requirements using such as SQL Server editions, the features they support, and the hardware considerations, the compatibility. I'll come to that later actually. I have one slide to say about that. Next comes to the upgrade strategy. We have two key points in the strategy of upgrade, like how you're going to do that. And also you have your high availability servers. When I say high availability, it comes to your clustering, your SQL 2000 cluster or 2005 cluster or your database mirroring of 2005. You can successfully upgrade them without removing that part or without removing that feature alone, because the upgrade supports that. In every aspect of your upgrade, make sure you have all the backup and rollback plans, because that is a key point of that, so that you can decide, okay, you're going ahead means you're going ahead. So the spinning around here is test the plan, not just by simply documenting your process. Always test your thing, what is that's going to happen, that's going to run through. Test environment, because I'm saying testing here, what are these things? Like collect all in-house scripts, like what the number of scripts, the functionality that's been used for a certain time, and always discuss with your development teams and business teams so that your testing goes successfully, because that is a key aspect, because your business who is going to pay for this upgrade and developers who are going to develop the new features. You can run certain stress kind of testing using RML utilities, which is freely available from the codeplex.com site, such as retrace and ostress. That can give you kind of, okay, once you upgrade your platform to the newer version, you can run that, like simulate the testing actually. Okay, number of users, you can stress your system and see whether how your system is going to support that or not. So these are certain tools you can do that. Always save the trace. That means sometimes you can collect the trace, such as profiler trace, but make sure that you collect the trace into a separate disk space where your data and log files are separated. That means where your data and log files are kind of existed. So that's about the planning checklist which I run through. These are the key important things. So let's jump onto the strategies and considerations, like what are the strategies I'm talking in my previous slides. We have two strategies in one is in-place upgrade and another is side-by-side upgrade. So let's see what exactly in-place upgrade comes into. In-place is nothing but your existing installation is upgraded. That means your instance name remains same once you upgrade, and old instances no longer exist, so that you are completely upgrading your current SQL Server 2000 instance. Use the data and configuration is preserved. That means you don't need to worry about your data connection strings whatsoever, because everything is carried over with the same name. And this is a mostly automated process, as it said, because you are doing the perform of the existing system and on the same machine. There are certain pros and cons. The pros are this is faster because less effort, because you don't need to worry about the number of servers, number of moving around here between the servers or databases. And the setup, the SQL Server setup gives you that moving of data and database and configuration easily. And application connects to the same instance even after upgrade. The cons, less granular. When I say less granular, if anything goes wrong, you can't come back quickly. That means you need to reinstall your older versions again from scratch. And there are certain restrictions, like because now everything is coming into 64-bit platform. Even Microsoft software, your local office, and everything is going 64. Your laptop is now 64-bit. So you cannot upgrade your platform, such as your server platform, from Windows on Windows 64-bit to actual 64-bit environment. Obviously, that means you are modifying your existing system. The rollback is not that easy. It is complex. When I say complex, it's very kind of troublesome. You have to make sure you have all the backup of our system, everything in terms of even operating system, even the shared folders who are going to have the permissions. Everything is going to change now. So, what are the in-place upgrade paths actually? Obviously, the minimum service pack level, because every SQL Server edition or version will have certain service pack level. Obviously, SQL Server 2000, the minimum, the last and the least one, that means the last service pack is SP4. Same for 2005 version. And for even if you want to upgrade your existing 2008 platform, your 2008 databases to 2012, then you need to have service pack 2 for your SQL 2008. Same way for the 2008 R2, because you have different versions, 2008 and 2008 R2. 2008 R2, directly you can upgrade from your RTM version, RTM edition to direct SQL 2012. And edition upgrade, you can go upwards. That means you can upgrade your Express edition to the higher standard edition or other edition, or you can upgrade your standard edition of SQL 2005 to 2008 R2 or 2008 or 2012 Enterprise edition. You cannot come down because of the Enterprise edition certain feature restrictions. So I have just a list, a table here. Exactly, it comes like from 2000. You can simply go to 2008 R2, but there is no direct route to 2012. So you have to hop on, like you have to upgrade your 2000 platform to 2008 R2 and then upgrade to 2012. So you have a double effort there if you want to directly go from 2000 to 2012. Whereas from 2005 onwards, you can select whether you want to go to R2 directly or 2012. And obviously from the lower editions, from standard edition to the enterprise edition, you can simply jump on. Same as the environment, the 32-bit to 64-bit is very easily. You can also go to 32-bit to 32-bit. And the next strategy is side by side. We talked about in place, that means existing environment. There is another strategy called side by side upgrade. That means you're not disturbing your existing instance. You're not at all touching your existing instance. Everything is on the fresh new server, completely separate server. So you have to copy all the objects that are required for your application onto this new server. It can be on the same server with a different instance name, or it can be on a different physical server alone, which can give you that. And obviously, in order to copy the database objects, you could use the copy database wizard or even detach, copy, attach process in the backup restore, whichever way you want to do. The upgrade path, that means the path which I mentioned previous slide, is same for this, even for the in place to to side by side. So the rules always applies for the both strategies. So let's see what exactly a side by side migration looks like. So here we have a graphic explains you have an existing instance. Let's assume it's a 2005 and 2000 and 2008. So you have three versions here, number of databases, and you want to upgrade that instance to 2008 R2 or 2012. Okay, so how are you going to do that? So you will move, because we are doing side-by-side migration. So all the databases, all the scheduled jobs, all my DTS packages, my linked server information, my scheduled jobs, and everything is transferred onto this new server. Compare and verify, because the comparison is a key aspect here. You need to compare that, yes, you got everything here. Every required piece of the database you got here. Once verified, you can test your application compatibility connecting to the new instance. That means the new 2008 R2 or 2012 instance. So that's how it looks like. So upgrade 2000 SP4 to 2008 R2 and upgrade 2012 again. So as I mentioned previously, because I'm keep on stressing that point, that I have a number of people asking previously, like, okay, we can jump on directly from 2000 to 2012, right? Because it's like that. No, because there is a limitation on the upgrade going to the higher version. So, and the pros and cons in side by side, even, yes, every aspect, every feature will have a disadvantage and advantage. So the pros is ability to change the platform. So everything is new. You're not touching your existing instance, and your existing system is still available if anything goes wrong. And you can have better downtime control. You can set to your business that, hey, we're going to upgrade today, and we're going to have a downtime of 1 day or half day, because you know that everything is moved at that point of time. You can take complete backup, complete database backup, and do that. Cons. I don't see this as a con, but still, because the time and effort you're going to put is much larger than what you're going to do on in-place upgrade. So, because you need to transfer everything, every aspect of your database. When I say database, it comes to even the objects outside of database, as I mentioned previously. Even the security settings, so the scripts you are going to run, certain batch jobs, everything needs to be transferred. A new instance to be created. So, yes, the effort is more than what you're going to do for the in-place.
So let's see exactly how the overview of how a failover clustering, that means we talked about high availability, kind of the feature upgrade, how it's going to do that. So since 2008 onwards, the upgrade of your failover clustering services has been changed from the previous 2005. You can do a rolling upgrade having minimal downtime. So everything you can do is from installation center, because now SQL Server you can install using a landing page called SQL Server Installation Center, so that you can upgrade. You can choose a specific instance to do that. And the best practice is always start with a passive node. That means the node that has been not used, start there. You upgrade that node, and you can start the testing. During this time, the failover happens automatically. Certain times you need to do some manual failover and failback, but the most aspect of the in-place upgrade of your failover clustering platform happens automatically. So you can use a slipstream functionality actually, which is introduced in SQL 2008 R2 RTM onwards, and SQL 2008 Service Pack 2 also supports this. That means you can install your latest edition, latest version of the SQL and plus Service Pack in one go. You don't need to install the RTM, then Service Pack, then hotfixes. You can keep everything into one aspect and do that. So that's what the slipstream means. And obviously, if you have an Itanium 64-bit, you can't upgrade from your existing 2000 to 2008 R2. You have to take the backups, database backups, copy, and you need to restore them. And you cannot upgrade your existing 2000 analysis service clustered instance to 2008 R2, because analysis services is not like relational database, so that is a key aspect, is completely different, and that is not supported. What are the best practices? Because since 2008 or 2008 R2, we have certain prerequisites that you need to install before on any server you're going to use a SQL Server, such as .NET Framework 3.5, which is 3.5 version Service Pack 1, and Windows Installer 4.5, and the setup support files. These three are key important things. And just a note here about a knowledge-based document that talks about certain Windows Server 2003 SP2. You need to install this server hotfix, because that is required for the failover clustering of the rights, the permissions that are required for that 2003 version. So failover to an upgraded node, because because the failover aspect that runs will be always run from the passive node, as I said before. Obviously start with the passive node so that it will give you much longer time and your existing application can continue. Just want to show that with a graphic here actually. So we have some configuration here: Windows Server 2003 R2 or Assume 2008 R2, and SQL Server 2000, Service Pack 4, 64-bit, and shared storage, 2 nodes. And what we have is here like this, active and passive. Mind you, you need to have .NET 4.0 is a requirement for SQL Server 2012, and SQL Server installs the .NET 4.0 as a feature installation. So because previously the 3.5 SP1 for 2008 R2 was not able to download, you need to download it separately and install. But now the SQL Server Installation Center for 2012 that installs automatically. So as I said, start with passive. The step 1 is the prerequisites: your .NET 3.5 or .NET 4.0, your Windows Installer 4.5, and the hotfix, because we are talking about 2003 SP2 here, and the setup support files. After you install those 4 things, reboot your passive node. Once you reboot, you do a manual failover. So that means you moved everything onto here. Your cluster resources are moved here. We haven't upgraded yet here actually. So we're going to follow the similar steps that followed on the passive node on the existing the current passive node, so that we have matching support files, matching DLL files that are required for the higher version of the SQL Server. And once you do that, this is what it is exactly. Then now you're starting your upgrade process, because what we have done previously is this is just prerequisite that they're going to perform. And once that is completed, now you're going to start the upgrade. Either you can use from a SQL Installation Center, you can upgrade that, or you could do backup and restore and change the compatibility mode to the higher version. And once you do that, during this time, the cluster group, because certain cluster groups or the possible owners will be removed because that is a part of our upgrade process. You can add them again once the cluster comes back online. That's what SQL 2008 R2. We got the passive node. Mind you, as I said, the passive node has got now 2008 R2. That means the databases you can move here. The step 5 happens automatically. Once your passive node has SQL 2008 R2 installed and everything, that's it. The databases gets upgraded to there. And there is a little bit kind of interruption here, as you can see within the slide, the X mark here, so that your application can't connect at that point of time because automatic failover happens. And once that happens, it becomes an active and passive because the change of roles, and your application connects to the existing active instance. The same way what we have done previous node, we're going to do on the existing node again. Once you do that, that's it, you got to 2008 R2. So your cluster, the 2-node cluster, this is how it is upgraded very quickly and easily. There are certain notes here exactly about 2012 multi-subnet failover cluster, because 2012 brings this new feature called multi-subnet. You can have multiple subnet IP addresses where you can install them. These notes, actually, I'm going to skip on this slide because the topics which I mentioned here, the lines, it's already available in the SQL 2012 books online. So there is no point for me to just read out those things, because anyhow you can get the slide later. You can read them and understand. So I'm going to skip just this part of it. So apologies if anyone is thinking why I'm not covering this. I'm going to blog about this actually soon. So how this the multi-subnet failover cluster going to work. So additional scenarios. We talked about failover clustering. How about database mirroring? That was introduced in 2005 onwards, and it is rolling upgrades supported exactly. And mirror version must be equal to the new version principle. Again, at least one manual failover is required within your database mirroring. And typical upgrade flow is that's how it looks. As we started with the passive node, and then database mirroring, you start with the mirror database. Upgrade your mirror first. Wait for low activity window. That means nothing is happening on your application. Nobody is really using kind of thing. And make sure you change the mode, the database mirroring mode, to synchronous. And failover to the new principle. This you're going to do it actually manual failover. And once you do that manual failover, change to asynchronous and upgrade your new mirror instance. That means the first step, what I'm doing here, upgrade mirror first, means the prerequisites that you need to install. And the step 6 is exactly the upgrade process starts. If you have asynchronous mirroring setup, you're going to follow these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps. But if you have just a synchronous mirroring, you don't need to do all the steps. Just you can do the upgrade mirror first, which is prerequisites, jump straight to failover to mirror, and upgrade your mirror instance and do the failover and failback. Upgrading analysis services. We talk about the relational code engine, and this is how these are available to 2005 to 2008. You could use analysis services migration wizard. This migration wizard is visible actually. It is available from your Object Explorer from Management Studio. Right click on your analysis instance. You could see this migrate database, where you can choose which database you're going to migrate, the analysis services instance. So that's about the analysis services. How about the reporting services? Yes, because reporting services is also big nowadays. So it is on the same instance. So database engine components and reporting server components can be upgraded at the same time. Remote installation. If you can choose to have your reporting services on a separate server other than the core database, you can also do that. During this time, the reporting services database schema. Mind you, reporting services creates two databases called report server and report server MDB. These two databases schema will be updated. That's just a glimpse about the reporting services. Jump on to TTS and integration services. And TTS is deprecated, gone now. When I say gone now, this is in SQL 2012. So 2012, you do not have any support for UDTS. You have to have SSIS. That means integration services. So it still continues from 2008, 2005 and 2008, but not in 2012. So what options you have for your DTS packages? There is a third-party tool, or even you could use SSIS Wizard, the migration package from your management studio, or you can download this free tool called DTS Migration Wizard. This is the best tool that I always use to upgrade or to migrate existing DTS packages to the SSIS. And the best practice is, if you have certain packages, you can rewrite them in SSIS, because certain steps, such as in your old DTS way, if you have run 50 steps to perform certain activity, the same process can be performed using just 10 steps in SSIS. So you can incorporate all these DTS packages into SSIS package. So you cannot do a design runtime support on 64-bit for 32-bit, because if you have 32-bit packages, you cannot do some designing and change of the thing. So it's always best thing is rewrite that the SSIS packages into the new version. Or you could use SSIS package wizard using from Management Studio. So we jumped on the planning, the checklist, and overview the strategy. What are the strategies we have, the pros and cons. So now I'm going to give you 3 scenario-based kind of, the situation, like how long it took actually. So just a question like how long it may take to upgrade. There are no simple way to determine the factors. Yes, real-time scenario is it always depends. Whenever my client asks like, okay, do you think it will be finished in 1 week or maybe 1 day? I say it depends, because we don't know exactly what are the factors we have here. So I have one case here actually. I got one reinsurance kind of organization. They have a big data warehouse. That means the database size itself was around 10 terabytes. When I say database size, there are multiple databases, and they want to upgrade from 2005 to 2008 R2. And it took 6 plus 1 week to complete. That means it took 7 weeks for me to complete the complete upgrade and performance tuning and everything. 6 weeks of very intensive preparation and 1 week focused on performance gains. That means 6 weeks itself. On that, 2 weeks I spent on the pre-upgrade, 2 weeks on the testing, and the last 2 weeks on the actual implementation. Plus, once we are upgraded, we have used 2008 R2 functionality, such as the compression, the data compression features, and the sparse columns, because these have been used on the new databases, the new upgraded version, and also the queries have been fine-tuned using query table hints. As you have seen from Sharp's presentation previously, we have certain features in 2008 R2 onwards that can give you a better performance here to fine-tune that. And obviously, there were certain complex queries involved, because the reinsurance domain, they have the bad jobs and everything. So that time I have used this partition function, because the table partitioning and filter statistics. SQL Cat, the SQL Server customer advisory team, they got one blog post, and there is one white paper available that says using filter statistics with partition tables. I refer this particular article to as to give them the exact good advice, and they followed. It was implemented, and it was one of my happy customers. And case 2. We have a retail chain. When I say retail chain, that's a retail shops, like they have multiple, shops. They want to upgrade their existing databases from 2000 to 2008. And obviously heavy involvement of replication. It took 3 months, yes, because they got multiple, replication instances, like multiple subscribers, multiple publishers and distributors. So I had to go through each and every aspect of this replication. Over 110 subscribers and 67 articles. So, and obviously due to the poor connectivity, because they are depending on the WAN, on the internet, so the connectivity, the subscriptions that are getting upgraded are very heavy. So I had to consider all those aspects as well. And there is another article available from SQL Cat team, upgrading your replication of your existing SQL Server 2000 to 2008 without reinitialization. That means you can successfully upgrade your 2000 replication database to 2008 R2 without doing a reinstallation, so that your subscriber data still stays same as is. Case 3, last but not least, is a banking application. Very business logic is a complex. The complexity of the business logic has been very high. And they've been using mixture of this database mirroring, replication, reporting services, and DTS. And they want to upgrade from existing 2000 and 2005 to 2008 R2. And it took 1 month to complete. See, we have various different aspects, different features have been used, but it took 1 month to complete because it depends. Because I followed database mirroring was very easy to upgrade. It took 2 days, 3 days at the most. Reporting services, just 1 day. The DTS migration, this was a longer bit actually, so it took 2 weeks for me because they had a huge, at least 250 DTS packages and SSIS packages to upgrade. Obviously, the complex business logic, so I had to go through all those things and get these, the number of reads, because those queries that were running, statistics IO, profile on and time on, so that this gives us exactly how long that particular query is taking on. And I suggested, like, if your query takes more than 6 or more joins, that means the complex business logic, always create a new indexes once you upgrade, so that they don't really depend, because as you know, the query engine, the optimizer is different from 2000 to 2008 R2, such as we got the plan guides. So the plan guide would help on 2008 R2, so that those queries are running each and every time, multiple times in a day, so the plan can be efficient enough to get the data quickly. That's about on how long it took actually, how long it will take, the topic. So here I'm going to give you a glimpse of the tools, what are those tools, and give you the preview of those things. Obviously, sorry for this, the black on, the gray background here. So this is Upgrade Advisor actually. What it will do is, this tool is freely available from your installation center, SQL Server Setup Installation Center. It analyzes your existing database, any trace that you have collected, any script files you want to review. And this is a read-only operation, but it's a CPU and IO intensive, so that your existing database server is heavily used the CPU. So always better to run the Upgrade Advisor tool during the midnight, so that if the less number of users on your system. And you could do this remote execution as well. It will generate a report like, okay, what are the blocking issues? Certain issues, it will say that you cannot upgrade this database because of so and so reason. That will show you what are those, the Upgrade Advisor report looks like. And it will also give you the suggestions exactly how to do exactly. And next one is Upgrade Assistant. This is used for your application compatibility testing. This gives you an extra mile what Upgrade Advisor actually is, cannot offer, such as it can leverage profiler trace capability. It can run the trace itself, so you don't need to use profiler again. You can do a comparison baseline of your previous system and your existing system. And this was developed because this is a third-party tool, but it was a kind of a development between the Microsoft development team and the scalability experts. And this is easily downloaded, can be available on their site, scalabilityexperts.com. And there is a wiki available actually on the TechNet site. Because the link, the blue version, the blue color, the text you see here, those are the links. So I'm going to give you this PPT, so you can simply click on the PPT to directly go to that link. So the link is available that time. So that's why there is whenever you see the change in the color on the text, so that's a link. It's a hyperlink I've provided. I'm going to give you just a glimpse of these. What are those tools which I have mentioned here? So I'm going to pause this for a minute and okay. And I'm going to share one more thing here. So okay, can you see my screen now? I presume yes. So this is what it is. We have, thank you, sir. So what we have here is this. See the 2008 R2 installation center I have here, the planning, because you have the kind of things here. You can see here install Upgrade Advisor. So this tool I can download. That means I can install straight away. And you can also download from the Microsoft download site. So once you have downloaded, it has been installed and everything has been done. So I'm going to bring up that just in a minute, and going to share that. I'm going to share my upgraded advisor. Hello, where are you? Yes, here it is. Okay, coming in a minute. Okay, this is what it is. So I'm going to expand this. It gives you a good look. Launch upgrade advisor analysis wizard. So wizard, when I say wizard, actually it runs through something, so I have to share that as well. So I'm going to share multiple things here actually. So the first thing is I'm going to share my desktop, everything, so that will be much easier for me to, rather than jumping around here. So okay, now you can see my desktop clearly. I click next. This is my server name. I can do detect. It will detect the number of services such as SQL Server analysis services, notification services. Mind you, this was in 2000. Yes, if you remember that. Reporting services, DTS, and integration services. For this point of time, I want to choose only SQL Server. Click next, and I have my instance name here, SQL Perf. That instance name. Click next. It gives me the list of databases what I have, but I don't want to do databases of all. What I want to do is just simple footmark 2005. See that? Analyze trace files. If you have already collected your profiler trace here, you could do that. And if you have any batch files, certain batch files you want to review, you can also review. At this point of time, I don't have any. And these are the settings that shows. And I click on run so that it runs analyzing. See that analysis process starts now. So there are 105 rules. See that? It checks every aspect. 105 rules. It goes about database objects. So it's going through each and every object there. So I'm going to come back this just a little bit later time, but I'm going to show you about I think I don't have the upgrade assistant. There you go. We got completed recently. Analysis completed. Issues may be viewed on report. Launch report. Ooh, have some serious problem here. It says possible schema corruption. See that? My database is corrupted, so something happened very bad. Because all until now I've been using my database happily. I can come here and see that I can happily use this, my footmark 2005. So I can run all this. It runs everything fine, but all of a sudden it goes, oh, some severe issues happen. But this is just to give you an example like how it looks, how the report looks, and how it is actually give you the example actually. So you can also export this report as to CSV file, where you can export into a Excel sheet, comma separated value. And you can also open report if you have any multiple reports that have been run previously. So this is what it is. So, and once I come back to my show here, there is another feature called deprecated feature, because the new version, higher version always would have certain features that are deprecated. So deprecated means certain features are supported in the existing higher version, but that will be removed from the future releases of SQL Server. So you could use your sysmon or perfmon tool to capture that, because it monitors the number of times your application that's running any deprecated features are there. So you can plan now itself, okay, because now this feature is deprecated, you can plan developing that and use the new version of new features that have been documented, and it's very useful after the post upgrade, and that's how it looks. So, and there is another tool called built-in discovery tool, because you can run this actually, the built-in discovery tool to capture how many instances you have. And there is also another tool called Microsoft Assessment and Planning Map Toolkit. Recently we got Map Toolkit 6.5 version, and this requires Word and Excel, because the report is produced in the Word and Excel, and it installs its own database, SQL Server Express release database. You can also use your existing SQL Server instance. But the Map Toolkit 7 is also released CTP recently, so they're going to have a lot of changes in that. So, And there is, if you are a programmer, good programmer, you could use WMA provider. And there is a Microsoft MSDN page that talks about this WMA provider, which is GT981032. So what's this deprecated feature? I'm going to jump back to my SQL Server instance and see that I could directly use my OS performance counters. See that I don't need to use the performance tool alone. You can also use that, but here I'm going to show you like exactly how we can capture this. I can run this select star from sys.dm_os_performance_counters on this GMV with this certain object name called deprecated features and execute. Okay, nothing is running at this point of time, so it doesn't come with anything. So I can also just select this and run to get that. So this is what it is. You can schedule this as a job to capture every 15 seconds, or you could choose to run performance tool itself and capture the data for a period of time. And if I jump back to my installation center, I told you like there are certain things like, you know, the discovery tools, the discovery report. See that installed SQL Server feature discovery report and Microsoft Assessment and Planning Toolkit. So these are all available already within your SQL Server installation center. So you don't need to really worry about where to go, where to download. It's everything incorporated individually where you can get the information. So that's, I think, pretty much about that. So there's inside. So last but not the least, I have some list of things to remind you about what are these best practices and the resources that I always stored and referred. Checklist, again, this is a post-upgrade checklist. Determine application acceptance. When I say application acceptance, end-to-end testing. So your application must be tested from end to end, from the point 1 to the exactly complete usability. And decommission the older systems that you may not need, because sometimes they'll add some confusion. And always go with your security update hotfixes. And revisit your upgrade advisor recommendations. Even though once you have upgraded successfully running for the last 3 months, you can run upgrade advisor again and do that. And you need to run the best practices analyzer, as I mentioned previously, which is on SQL 2008 R2. Recommended practices. Obviously, if you have complex queries, you can take help of database tuning advisor, and certain code changes, such as in your SQL 2000, if you have this so-and-so code change, you can change it to like this, because the new code changes, because that is discontinued from now, the old style, whereas column equals to column, because it's replaced with join. So you can join 2 tables or the same table together like this. And even a better change, 2008 R2 onwards, you got inner hash join, because these are the performance aspects, performance features that have been incorporated. So as I said previously, if you have more than 5 joins in your query, always check the execution plan. And execution plan means check estimated and actual. So both actual and estimated execution plans must be tested, must be checked together. If you have no room for code change, or if you're using any third-party tool and the database, you can't change anything in the column names or something, well, you are at kind of a little loss there. You can't make any code changes. Then you have to use plan guides, because the plan guides would help to cache the plan, store the plan in the memory, and it could use certain query hints that you have mentioned in your plan guide, so that you can run those queries, use plan hint, so that the plan can be used every time that complex query has been executed for reporting purpose whatsoever. And again, that opens up another big world of the performance tuning aspect, storage optimization. So this is the very scariest and the very toughest part for every DBA there. So a disk partition alignment and IO practices. So these are the things, actually these are outside of your upgrade of your data platform, but still these are the key factors you need to remind you always, like, okay, once you upgrade your platform, you are not foolproof. No software is is not completely designed to, yes, it can do anything better than any other thing. So it's like your car. Every certain period of time you have to change the oil of the car, or you have to top up the air on the tires. Same way, your databases, once you have upgraded to your newer, higher editions, higher versions, make sure you revisit the code, make some changes so that it can get some good benefits out of the new features. And we are coming to end of the kind of presentation. These are the resources. Obviously, that's my own first reference of my book, because I have dedicated a chapter for upgrade alone. So my book is based on the practical recipes kind of style. So I mentioned like what exactly we have here and how it has been done. And that chapter gives you good practices, good list of things. The checklist that I mentioned actually that has been already incorporated in my book. So you can purchase a book and to get that information. And obviously, developer training kit. So if you're a developer, you want to see what new changes are in 2008 R2 or 2012, you can download. And this feature pack, the feature pack is extra, the drivers, such as if you have some Oracle you want to migrate, or MySQL PHP databases. So there are certain drivers available, you can download and do that. So, and the best thing also, the other resource I mentioned about my site, SQL Server-QA.net, where I blog frequently about my own experiences and the best practices. And last but not least, make sure you download and read the books online, because the books online has got plenty of information there that talks about specifically for upgrade, like discontinued features or breaking existing features, what's new, what is going to change, what is the backward compatibility. So all these sections you need to go around and check about it. So that comes to end of my session. Thanks for listening. So it's open for the question now.
Thank you, Satya, for your time and for your interesting session. Really, it was very beneficial for upgrade specs. For questions, so far, I didn't receive any questions. Guys, if you could hear me, if you ask questions relevant to upgrade-wise, upgrade features from SQL 2000, 2005, 2008, 2012, you could drop down your question here. Thank you, Satya, again for your time.
No, thanks for giving me opportunity to present to your community, Shahab. Also, it's been much
very pleased from our community to get you participating in our SQL Bus event. Indeed, it was very beneficial for SQL 2005, 2008, 2012 upgrade. Hopefully, inshallah, next session participate with us, inshallah.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm interested to do even much more deeper kind of thing. Like if anyone wanted to know about like, okay, yes, I said so best practice, so how are you going to do that? Even I could do that as just a half an hour talk, or give you some demos, some scripts, so I can do that as well. So
yeah, inshallah, indeed, inshallah. Thank you again, Satya. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Good night, guys. Have fun.
Okay, have fun, Satya. Goodbye.